Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. As I reported in my last video, a case that I was following and is 18 months old now has been solved. Her body has been found deceased. Cheryl Coker just turned 48 last week. That was her birthday. And bones were found in Greene County over the weekend, and they have been identified as Cheryl. She comes from Riverside, and she's been missing for 18 months, missing since the 2nd of October 2018. Riverside Chief Police Frank Robertson said, "We never give up on a case, and she's never been forgotten by the community." In the area of her body, it was alongside a wooded area. It's private property and not common area for a person to go. Clothing found on the remains have been turned over to Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation. There is no evidence that her body had ever been buried, investigators have said. There's a lot of work to be done, and Saturday the cadaver dogs were at the scene. Riverside police initially began their investigation as a disappearance, as a missing person case. She was last seen on the morning of October the 2nd, 2018, dropping her daughter off at high school in Riverside. In February 2019, they said they are now treating this case as a homicide investigation. Riverside police at that time also named her estranged husband, Willian Coker, as a suspect, but he has not been charged with any crime and has denied any involvement in her disappearance. A person who found the bones of Cheryl, off a road in Greene County, told 911 dispatcher that it appeared the bones had clothing on at some point. The call obtained by Dayton Daily News was placed Saturday evening around 6:30 p.m. when the call came in. The caller says he found the remains while picking wild mushrooms or looking for wild mushrooms. He says, "I found some bones along the side of a road, and it was actually wearing clothes, I think." This is what the man says on the 911 call to the dispatcher. The man said the remains appeared to be wearing pants and a sweatshirt. "The bones are just bones, but there is clothing on them," he says. "I just touched the bottom part with a stick to see if they were actually wearing, and it appears they are either stuck to or whether the bones was wearing pants." That's how it reads. According to the call for the service log, Greene County Coroner's Office arrived on the scene around 7:30 p.m. this past Saturday. In February 2020, Riverside Search warrants were executed as recently as a week in February the 20th. Homicide investigations involving Cheryl's Coker case, the police had said. Wednesday marked 1 year since Riverside police said she disappeared and was being looked up as a homicide. And they named her husband, Bill, as a suspect. The department committed to locating Cheryl are bringing the suspect responsible for her disappearance to justice, the Riverside police said. The department has partnered with the federal and state and local agencies as part of this ongoing investigation. We have also consulted with Montgomery County Prosecutor's Office in this investigation. At this time, in February, they had not found her body and hadn't made any arrests, but they were still heavily on this case. The police did release a video from the day Cheryl disappeared or was last seen. A man dressed in black with white gloves walking away from the parking lot where her SUV would be found later, and again in an area behind their house. Cheryl's sister, Margie, also had been searching for her sister after her 15-year-old daughter could not locate or couldn't find her mother. The investigation after the disappearance painted a picture of a troubled relationship with her husband, and this led to recent filing for a divorce. Professional searchers from the Midwest chapter of Texas EquiSearch made multiple sweeps of targeted areas but didn't find her. Mary Carell, Cheryl's mother, spoke on the anniversary of her daughter's disappearance. "I want to lash out, and I just can't," she said. "Your mind's never off her. You get up first thing in the morning, take a shower. It's right there all the time. If we could find Cheryl, that could help us," she said. "You grieve, but you're always looking for her." Bill, her husband, soon to be ex-husband, has maintained his innocence. But Cheryl's family said they don't believe it. It's basically just finding her, and I can't imagine what he could have done to her, Cheryl's mother said. "Someone knows. Somebody knows, and shame on them." The day Cheryl disappeared, on October the 2nd, 2018, they give us a little rundown of her day. Around 7:35 a.m., Cheryl's cell phone records show she arrived back at the home after dropping her daughter off at high school. Around 7:40 to 7:45 a.m., Cheryl makes several Facebook posts. 7:35 to 10:51 a.m., Cheryl's cellular phone pings at her house. Around 7:52 a.m., Cheryl's phone pings near Kroger at 700 Spinning Road. And approximately 7:52 a.m., Cheryl's Toyota Highlander enters surveillance video in the parking lot of Kroger and is parked on the east part of the parking lot, closer to Clancy's Tavern. A person dressed all in black, who appears to have a hood pulled up, exits Cheryl's vehicle and walks north in the parking lot towards Burkhardt Road, Burkhardt Road. That's how you spell it. At 10:53 a.m., the person dressed all in black is seen walking. Around 11:09 to 11:10 a.m., the suspicious male is seen on 4 different cameras at Spinning Hills Middle School. All 4 videos show the man walking towards Cheryl Coker's residence. At approximately 8 p.m. at night, another video from inside Kroger shows Bill enter the grocery store wearing all dark clothing, a black polo shirt, dark colored shorts, and dark colored shoes. The video also shows a visible injury above William's left eyebrow. Around 8:11 p.m., he makes a purchase at the Kroger store and then exits. In November 2018, Cheryl's husband, Willian, Bill, as they call him, for the first time, the husband speaks publicly, speaking about his wife's disappearance. No one has seen or heard from Cheryl since she dropped her daughter off at the high school a month ago. After weeks of attempting to contact William with no luck, News Center 7's James Brown caught up with him at his job. This is what William said: that he loves his wife very much, and that he didn't have anything to do with his wife's disappearance. "I wish I knew what happened," he said. "I have no theories, but I don't want to get into those because it would hurt my daughter." Riverside police have not named a suspect at that time, and were still treating this as a missing person back then. When asked if William thought Cheryl was still alive, he said, "I sure hope so. I loved her." I sure hope so I loved her. He sure did. He then mentioned his daughter again when he said, "We love her and miss her very much and just hope she comes home." News Center 7 showed Cheryl and William at the center of 11 search warrants. RPD has applied for warrants to search their Riverside home and records kept by William's employer, Costco. That's what they did at the time. And they filed affidavits for 2 mobile phones. William's phone, a truck, and bank accounts. Those were some warrants they filed back then. In January 2019, around that time, there were some new court documents filed in Montgomery County courts in the recent days involving the investigation of the disappearance of Cheryl as part of an ongoing gathering of documentation in Riverside. Court officials said the documents were filed on January the 7th. They have been sealed, so unable to be released. Information on this type of documents filed also were not available to be released, a court official said. The documents filed are sealed and they cannot be commented on, Riverside Police said. No one has been charged or named as a suspect in the disappearance of Cheryl at that time. But they were still searching for her, still following up on leads. And then later, they named William as a suspect. Cheryl had filed for a divorce in September the 21st from William, who she was married to for 19 years. The police were talking to family members. Cheryl also was getting divorced. William was having an affair. He'd just gone back from a vacation with his girlfriend. And she was going to court the next day. But she disappears the day before. She was going for a divorce, child custody, maintenance, you name it. He probably was going to have to get out the house, or they were going to have to sell the house at some point, and he wasn't going to have any of it, allegedly. But he is a suspect, and he really just couldn't care less if she was missing or not. And he didn't even speak out about the disappearance of his wife. He avoided that at all costs. And he was tracked down at his job, and they just happened to get a hold of him and have a few words. I doubt if he was actively looking for her. He had no concern. They were getting divorced. Cheryl had enough of his cheating ways. Apparently he's been cheating all the way through his marriage for a long time, and she'd had about enough of it. He was doing what he wanted, and she couldn't do nothing about it. And their marriage was dissolving. No matter what kind of picture he paints, they were getting divorced. And she had filed for a divorce. And they do say, when you leave a spouse, that is the most dangerous part. In some cases, not in every divorce, obviously, that you probably will have harm done to you, or you will just disappear off the face of the earth. But Cheryl wasn't even that far from home. She wasn't even that far from home. It looks like she probably has been there for quite a while. Probably there the whole time. Not buried, just dumped there. Like trash. The person that did it couldn't care less, and that's probably her husband. I'm guessing the husband did it. That's my opinion. It all points to him. And he was seen getting out of her vehicle. Well, they can't really identify it was him, but they're matching up the identity from that person getting out the truck, going around the neighborhood, walking into their residence, and seen at the grocery store later that day dressed in the same clothes that match clothes on surveillance. It's all matching up. And he has a mark on his body. And so they have a description, and now they have to make their case. And now they found her remains. They'll have an autopsy. I don't know if she's got any broken bones or anything like that, or a fractured skull. But having clothes on her, there might be some evidence. But if she's just been in the wooded area all this time, it's the wonder the animals didn't get to her. I mean, she's been missing 18 months. Has this body been here all that time? Could have been. But it's a wooded area, and they have, wild animals. But once they get the autopsy, and now it's officially murder. And no doubt her husband he did lawyer up, and he kept his mouth shut, and has done since she disappeared. and has gone on with his life like nothing has happened. He hasn't made no appeals. He hasn't done anything to help find Cheryl because he knows where she was. He knew she wasn't on this earth alive anymore. So what's the point? So there you are, guys. That's just a little bit more update on Cheryl Coker, the missing person. She's now found and she's deceased. And thank you guys for stopping by. And don't forget to like or share and sub to my channel. And don't forget to press that notification bell so you can be notified on further updates.
Parking lot at Spinning and Burkhart at about 10:52 that morning. A man dressed all in black with a hoodie pulled up walks north toward Burkhart, and at the top of the screen you can see him. Now, he was also seen 20 minutes later, the same figure from Spinning Hills Junior High. There are 4 surveillance camera angles. We're showing you the best one. This person walks behind the row of houses on Christie Avenue and stops behind the Coker residence. There is no surveillance video of this person jumping the fence behind the Coker residence, but police point out there are other surveillance cameras in that neighborhood and that none of them show this person again. I did ask police, why is Bill Coker your suspect?
Yes, ma'am.
And why is Mr. Coker your suspect?
Based on a lot of the information that we have, a lot of it we can't discuss, but the facts and the evidence surrounding this case makes him our prime focus at this time.
That's just what he called to report that figure.
There was a guy dressed in black hoodie on, and as he walked across in front of me, he hid his face. So I made a circle around the block, and he was coming up Spring Garden, and when I met one time, he put both hands.
In this surveillance video, Coker's car can be seen driving down Spinning Road before entering the back of the parking lot and pulling into a parking space and stopping. But because there wasn't enough motion on the screen, the motion-activated cameras don't pick up who left the car.
The person must have not have got out of the car and went right or left.